Hey guys, Josh here,
And this is Mike.
and we are must
Must
see
see
before you
before
die.
you die.
We'll get it one of these days, Mike.
One day.
One day. So the movie we are doing today is 2001's Valentine. Um, I think actually this has a good cast. For me, like it actually has some back then for that time people I wanted to see in movies. You know, I was a big fan of David Boreanaz from Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Angel. Um, Also, big fan of Denise Richards. If you have to ask why, I don't know what's going on with you.
You
But I
liked
was
her
a big
workout tapes, right?
yeah, I was a big fan of Denise Richards from Wild Things and just other stuff that she did around then. And so, yeah, and it has Katherine Heigl is in this movie. She'd go on later to become a bigger star. But yeah, I think this actually has a decent cast. And
It
I
was a young
definitely watched.
cast.
Huh?
It was a young, good-looking cast that was early in their
Yeah.
careers.
Yeah. And also, um, I definitely liked this movie when I was a kid. 2001, I would have been like 16 or 17, depending when it fell. And so, yeah, I definitely would have. I remember renting this from Blockbuster back then. So, definitely enjoyed it. Um, so, what's some of your initial thoughts, Mike? Did you
Well,
see this movie back then?
to be honest with you, yeah, I did see it back then. I don't remember seeing it at the theater. I probably rented it at the time. Uh, about forgot about the movie, and then I saw The Mask, of course, when we
Mm-hmm.
talked about it. And this is during the Valentine, month of February here, so we wanted to do something that had the whole, kind of the Valentine vibe with, we did My Bloody Valentine earlier. Uh, I did remember it, and it's one of those again I had not seen probably since the first time I watched it.
Yep.
So I couldn't
Same.
remember. I remember there was kind of a twist on it, but I couldn't remember who did it. And I kind of like those whole who done it type movies of
Right.
that time period, the late '90s, mid '90s, early 2000s. I like
Right.
that. I like that kind of
Right.
movie.
Right. So like I like at the beginning of the movie, it kind of flashes back to 1988, and you see this yearbook like where this dude just wrote in obsessed with all these girls that he went to school with. Like
Mm-hmm.
certain ones had like, and he had like weird things like "I hate you," "I love you," "I hate you." You know, like just like kind of like
X's on them.
yeah, like some weird stuff and like hearts drawn around some of the girls. And so you meet the cast, and at this point, as young girls, rejecting this kid. His name is Jeremy Melvin, um, and um, the main cast is a girl named Dorothy, who is like a bigger girl back then in school, and
Not she's not big now, that's for sure. I mean,
no, and then you meet Kate, who is the nice girl who says, "No, not don't want to, not right now, Jeremy. Maybe later I'll dance with you." Kate, she's the final girl of this movie, because she's nice. Denise Richards' character, his name is Paige, and she's a jerk. She says, "I'd rather be boiled alive." Tells this kid that, yeah. And then the other girl, her name is Lily, and I don't remember what she said, but she's a jerk too. So, and yeah, so and it's in takes place in San Francisco, which is cool. I don't think I just don't remember a lot of horror movies taking place like there
and it was
or
actually
whatever.
filmed in Canada, which is odd because they had it filming that it happened in California, but in real life it was filmed in Canada.
Okay, okay. But then this kid gets traumatized, beat up. He gets accused of like assaulting this girl.
Yeah, he went around to all the girls asking them, and they all turned him down. And then finally, the one girl that you mentioned earlier,
Dorothy.
yeah, she was a little bit overweight. I mean, she was just a little bit overweight, but they start making out behind the bleachers, and a couple other kids caught them, and then next thing you know, she she joined the other kids by saying, "I know he forced himself on me," or whatever it was.
Right.
And she'd been living with that her whole life,
Right.
and this
So
kid, he got beat up. He got all of his clothes pulled off. He was
he
just in
got
his
the
underwear.
right. He had punch poured on him.
Yep. Had poor.
So
That reminded me of Carrie when they did that. I remember, the whole Carrie thing.
so this is a line that the bullies. So these are like male bullies, which don't get any revenge exact upon them. Why not? I don't know. Why
Yeah,
is
I
it
was kind
just
of
the
wondering
girls?
that. Was any of the guys that got killed in this movie those guys too? But they weren't. I mean,
No. But one of the lines that these bullies say, and I wrote it here because I'm like, seriously? They say, perv jumped buffalo. So, like, they still make fun of this girl for being bigger. They're calling her Buffalo.
her nickname
Um,
was Buffalo.
huh?
Her nickname was Buffalo.
Right. And so they said, perv jumped buffalo. So it's like, what? I don't know. But yeah, and then it jumps 13 years later, right, Mike?
Yeah.
Yeah, it does jump 13 years later, and you kind of meet this. You see what the girls are all doing with their lives. None of them are in serious relationships. They're all single and looking for men, right?
And I
Right,
can't
Mike?
tell that any of them actually worked. Maybe one of them that was supposed to fly somewhere for some work, but I mean, they're all just looking for guys, trying to hook up.
Well, and Dorothy, who was the bigger girl, her father's loaded. I
Yeah.
mean, this mansion that party takes place at the end is sweet. So
Hey, isn't one of the actresses in this movie Steven Spielberg's daughter-in-law or sister or his stepdaughter?
I don't know.
I'll have to bring that up later on, but I'll
Oh,
put it in
okay,
the video.
yeah, I
But
didn't know that.
yeah, because I
Um,
think the producer was talking about how he had high expectations of this one actress in the movie because her father-in-law was Steven Spielberg, I believe.
really. So there's a lot of like different things. Well, you meet Christian Heigl. She was one of the girls too. And I don't remember what her name was. Oh, Shelly. Shelly was one of the other girls. And she's really smart. She's going to school for medical. And you meet her. She's on this date with a guy that's a total creep. And but she goes back to the morgue where she's working. And this is a really cool scene, Mike. I like this beginning opening scene. She's at this morgue. She goes to like cut into the body and she hears something, so she walks away. And then when she goes back, she goes to cut into this body and it breathes, Mike. Like, what the heck? She's scared. She sees the freaking body that she was working on in the closet. And then the other body's gone. So she ends up stabbing the dude, though, with a scalpel in the leg, I think, or something.
Yes, she did. And then I never did notice the rest of the movie that ever.
No,
No
even when
lamp.
he was even when he was pursuing her right after that, you didn't notice it at all. So that was like a weird thing. But I love the scene where like that has all the bodies, and then the killer just starts stabbing every freaking body bag, dude. Don't you like that, Mike?
I mean, that's why I thought this movie starting out had so much potential because I thought, man, this is really cool. The beginning of this, and he had that huge knife, man. That knife was probably freaking 12, 18 inches long. But he's like just one in each hand. He opens up the first couple bags, and it was like he never said it. The killer never said it, and it's got this like Cupid type mask on.
Cherub.
Yeah, cherub. But he's sitting there going, he just goes up. He's like, I'm not unzipping none of these anymore. I'm just going to start stabbing. So he's stabbing all these dead bodies, and it comes down that very last one.
Yep, and she's in it, and he doesn't stab her, but he slits her throat and leaves her right in the body bag.
Yep.
And it's a shame that she was the first because I think she's a pretty good actress. But yeah, I mean, she wasn't long in the movie. But I did enjoy it. That kill. Also, what we forgot to mention is that this killer leaves people Valentines, but they're not just ordinary Valentines where it says you're gonna die. It's like intricate, like you pull something and it shows a guy cutting someone's throat. Or
that was cool too in the movie. I thought I like that.
Yeah, I like that. And then it's signed JM.
JM
Valentine. Yes. So I said here, I thought the mask is creepy. I like the mask. I think the mask is all right. The guy's just dressed in all black, of course, long black pants, and like a button up, like a double button up coat, I think it was that he had on. And I like the appearance of the killer, Mike. What did you think of the killer?
Yeah, I thought it was a new, again, it's a new concept. Valentine's Day. It is a kind of a creepy mask. It's not the scariest mask I've ever seen, but I liked it. I liked the set. I mean, I thought it started out really strong.
Yeah, one of the parts that I want to mention here is that he gives Lily chocolate in a box that she thinks is from one of these guys that she met on a freaking dating VHS tape back then. And she bites into it and it's full of maggots, Mike. Oh, God, it was
That was
sick.
pretty damn disgusting, I have to
That
admit.
was sick. And also, though, the Denise Richards character Paige says she's like, "Who's Jam? Who's Jam?" And she's the one that says, "Jeremy Melvin." Like, do you think it's Jeremy Melvin? Like, and she's like, "No, I'm just kidding. It can't be him. He's forever gone." And but it actually turns out that's who it is or whatever. But is there any of these kills that stuck out to you besides the first one? To me, the first one was really good, but there's one to me that sticks out that's really good, Mike.
Well, I also remember the girl. It's kind of a comedy thing. The girl that had the power went out and her hair had soap all in it. She
Yeah,
stuck her damn head down in the toilet to rinse it out. I was like, my God.
but she had to, Mike.
I think I'd have went around with a soapy head than have stick my head down the toilet.
Yeah, there's there's lots of male characters in this movie that are absolutely slimy and gross, in my opinion, including the detective. He's one of the slimiest.
Yeah, I would say the kill that really was different from me, and I had not seen in any horror movies that I like, and I just wish they'd got a little more graphic with it. Maybe was the kill with iron.
Oh,
When that guy got hit, one of the creepy guys that was kind of spying on the girls, and he was somebody lived in a, I guess, apartment complex.
yeah, he was Kate's neighbor.
Yeah, so he got a hot iron to the face, but then the killer also took the iron and like started like swinging it around the cord and just beating him with it. And I was like, that's a different type kill. I've never seen that one. And of course, you kind of already mentioned it. The the knife the knife coming down straight into the bags. Those people were already dead. They were in a morgue, but I
Right.
thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I like so this killer has like a calling card, I guess you could say. He's every time he gets ready to kill or does kill in the process, his nose will like leak
Start
blood for
bleeding.
whatever reason. It's because he gets sighted or whatever it is. And at the beginning of the movie, when Jeremy Melvin was kissing that girl, and then all those guys were going after him, his nose bled. So you're like, okay, it's the same guy. Also, I like this killing it where he kills Lily in that room with all those screens and stuff, dude, like saying different things and all that. It was like an
That's the
art
one with the
project.
arrow.
Yeah, he shoots her with 3 arrows, and then she falls off this thing and into a garbage can.
Yeah,
it was awesome. So I like the arrow kill too because you don't see that a lot. I don't think.
no.
But my favorite absolute kill is this girl that's not even a main character. She gets thrown through glass, and then like her head and neck is shoved on like shards of glass sticking up.
Oh yeah.
That was awesome. I thought I really liked that one.
Yeah, she's the one that saw the killer dragging a body through one of the rooms, and she was up there because her boyfriend had stole a bunch of money from her, and she was trying to go back up into the bedroom and steal some stuff, and she had found the watch given to him. But yeah, I kind of liked her. I kind of laughed at her character because she was trying to tell that girl that hey, this guy's a scumbag, and he
Right.
took money from me,
Right. Well, like I said, every scumbag in this movie but one gets his upcoming. So that's pretty good. What was I gonna say here? I said the guys in this movie are creeps. Like I said, even the detective guy, every time he looks at Denise Richards' character, he's like undressing her every freaking time he looks at her. So
he kind of probably like me in a candy bar.
But yeah, so this is one of those whodunit type movies, Mike. Mm-hmm. You don't know who the killer is. I mean, you think it could be Jeremy Melvin, but then you're also like, well, what does Jeremy Melvin look like? You don't know. He could have done cosmetic things to his body. It could be somebody else. And so this movie, it kind of gives you red herrings, like, well, it could be this guy or this guy. The main guy that I thought it was is played by David Boreanaz, and he's the boyfriend, well, the former boyfriend of Kate, who's the main girl, and he has a drinking problem, and that's why they broke up, because when he hits the bottle, I don't know if he becomes abusive or what, but when he hits the bottle, it doesn't work out for them. So this guy's been around for a little bit anyway. And his name's Adam in the movie.
Of course, he's a good-looking guy. All the girls,
yeah, definitely,
all the friends of the girl are like, "Oh, he's so he's hot, he's good-looking," and
yeah. Well, I thought that was also a funny part. Like when their friends are dating a guy, like the other women are like, "Who's this?" Like
who's
he's
that?
available.
You didn't tell me nothing about that.
I just thought everybody in this movie was really like horned up, Mike. Like everybody was going after everybody.
Yep.
Like I said, it was just interesting.
So Josh, what was the main things you liked about the movie and disliked?
Well, I liked most of the killing. Some of them were off screen, which is fine. You're going to get that. A lot of the dialogue, some of the dialogue was horrible, horrendous. It was boring. Like a lot of the scenes between Kate and her boyfriend, David Boreanaz, Adam, like it was just slow and boring. Yeah, there was just a lot of times where it was slow and boring, in my opinion.
I think they could have definitely beefed up the storyline, put more into trying to track down who this Melton kid is.
Right.
Where's he at? What happened to him? What?
And I wish that the main girls were just more interesting. I mean, all their thing was we're trying to find men. We're trying to find a date where we want to be involved with some. That was like their whole main thing to the whole movie, Mike.
I mean, other than two, it really degraded women. If you think about it, I mean, you had one that was a rich snob that used to be called Buffalo.
Yeah.
And she had a bad attitude because she really went off on the girl. You had the one nice girl that turned him down originally, but then you had the character that Denise Richards plays was just, some horny woman trying to, find any guy she can. But yeah, it made them all look bad. And I mean, it definitely did not boost female characters in movies. That's for sure.
No, I didn't think so.
Now the very first character was cool though. That was, going to medical school.
And for the most, I mean, some of them, Denise Richards stuck up for herself against the cop. The first girl stuck up for herself against that sleazy guy that called him, I think his name was Jason. He's like, Jason likes you. He talked to himself in the third person like a freaking idiot. But, and also they tried to say that he was the killer at one point. Because remember, he stared at him at a party and then he just walked away.
Yeah.
But, so the thing about it that I like the whodunit aspect, and I didn't know who it was until the very end, Mike. I didn't know. And they do a fake out in this movie, Mike, don't they?
They do a fake out, and then also they lead you to believe that one of the main characters is a boyfriend of Buffalo. He's kind of a sleazebag, trying to get money out of everybody. He's money hungry.
Right.
But he also gives a gift of a cherub or a Cupid to her as a gift.
Right. So they're like, well, maybe it's this guy. I think his name was Caleb. They said, Caleb, he could be it. Do you know him? You've only dated him for a month. And she's like, oh.
What was up with the part of the movie where they were getting ready to make out and all of a sudden it just cut? Maybe I got a different version, but it cuts to him in the bed afterwards. He's just like, don't worry about it.
Yeah. What? He couldn't get Mike. He couldn't
I know what didn't happen, but why even put that in the movie? I mean, why
it was funny.
Okay.
But no, so the fake out in this movie is that Kate has a final scene at this mansion after they had a big Valentine's Day party at this mansion that, geez, oh Pete, that thing would have cost a lot of money, that party. Are you kidding? And they kind of reveal that Adam is hitting the bottle again and he's drinking and Kate gets pissed off or whatever. And they have their final scene and everybody's gone except for, Dorothy and Kate have a argument and Dorothy goes away. But Kate and Adam, for some reason, are the only two people left at this party. And you're like, okay, well, Adam, they want you to think Adam's the killer at this point right now. Because he's like, oh, dance with me. I always wanted you to dance with me.
She beats the shit out of him.
She nails him in the balls with a knee. And then he was like, oh, don't worry. I'm here to hit you. And she takes a champagne bottle full and busts it over his head. And he goes down, and then she does something that I don't think I've ever seen a final girl do, Mike. Do you know what that is?
I can't remember, Josh. What is it?
She gets a gun and loads it.
Oh, yeah. And she don't know how to load the gun. This is something else. this tells you me, and I'm a gun person. My wife even noticed this. She says she never cocked the gun back to start with. So
Right.
she couldn't have just fired it, but that's a detail that most people wouldn't see and overlook. But yeah,
But
she
Mike,
goes into the cabinet and pulls the gun out.
final girls never do stuff like that. So like it was at least smart of her to do that. Yeah,
Yep.
she couldn't have fired it, but
Her character was not bad. I liked her character. If you
yeah,
had one or
Kate's
two more
character,
like that,
she actually goes on to play a character in 2 Scream movies, Mike.
yeah.
So that Kate girl. And so yeah, she is walking up these stairs and all of a sudden the cherub killer comes at her and they tumble down these stairs and the cherub killer's laying there and she sits up like Michael Myers, the cherub killer, and all of a sudden you see boom, 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 the gun goes off. Shoots the cherub killer dead. And it's David Boreanaz and he's like, oh, Kate, blah, blah, blah. And he takes off the mask and it's Dorothy in the under the mask. And you're like, oh, okay, that makes sense because she was there. You know, it could make sense that she would be the killer. She was jealous of all of her friends. You know what I mean? Because they were kind of like the popular girls, and she wasn't back then.
And she earlier went off telling that girl Kate that too. She went off
Yep.
like telling her, you know, that she went off on her.
Right. So it's like, okay, you could believe that that Dorothy could be the killer. You know what I mean? But then Kate's like, he's like, oh, nothing will ever hurt you. I'll be here for you forever, or some bullshit. And Kate's like has a shoulder, and all of a sudden you see blood dripping on Kate's shoulder, which she doesn't notice apparently because she don't open her eyes. Like what? And then you see David Boreanaz is like, and he's got blood dripping. So basically, it's Adam. Adam is the killer. Adam is Jeremy from back then. And that's, you know, he is the killer. How did you like that reveal, Mike? What did you think of the fake out? Did you think that she was
I
really
thought
the
the
killer?
fake out was cool. I mean, because at one time I was like, you know, once they saw him, I was like, well, was there 2 killers on this? Or and then I was like, no, he set her up. But how did it? I mean, was there really 2 killers the whole time? I mean, I didn't really understand that.
No, I think.
I mean, how did she get it? Why would she be walking around with a mask on?
I think that he put the mask on her and he pushed her at her and they tumbled down the stairs. And then when she sat up, because she didn't know what's going on, she had a mask on, he just blew her away. You know what I mean? I don't think it was 2 killers. I think
most of the times when they showed the people getting killed, there was always their nose always started bleeding.
That's right.
What would have been cool is if all of a sudden you had to go back and put that together. And it's like some of them they bled, some of them they didn't. So maybe there would have been like a whole Scooby-Doo thing. There may have been 2 killers, you know?
Sure. Yeah. Like I said, I enjoyed that twist at the end that Adam was the killer, and Kate now will not know that she actually dated a guy that was a killer before, because they had a relationship before all of this stuff.
Yep.
So I don't know what triggered this Adam guy, you know, Jeremy. I mean, he you know, he's Adam now, but I don't know what triggered him to do all this now if he's been in this girl's life for a month or 2 or however long it was beforehand. I don't know any of that story, but so Mike, what is your rating of this movie?
All right, so I would probably give it. I do think it's a little bit below average. I would probably give it a 2.25, maybe.
Okay. I'm gonna give it a 2.
Okay.
Because I do enjoy the cast. I do enjoy Denise Richards. I wrote that here. So she gets, listen, without Denise Richards in the movie, I would have gave it a 1. So I gave it a 2 because of her. No, I'm just kidding. But no, I think it gets a 2. I think it does have some solid kills in it. I think some of the gore was toned down a bit because of things that were going on in the world at the time, and they kind of wanted to dial it back. But I think overall, it's a decent movie to watch. It can be boring in spots, but not horrible, not Black Christmas bad in my opinion.
I mean, Valentine's Day, you know, this is one of those. So you gave it a higher score than my Bloody Valentine. So, yeah, I mean, it's something around February to check out if you hadn't seen in many years, or you know, something to play on the TV while you're doing something else. Maybe it does have some cool scenes to it and stuff. It's one of those that you don't have to be completely invested in it 100% and still kind of catch what's going on with it. So to me, it's worth watching, even though it's below average for me.
The acting in this is a lot better than My Bloody Valentine, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's
also 20 years earlier. I mean, later.
I know.
There's a $10 million budget on this, so they did spend a little bit of money on it, not a ton. And then the main actor, he did his part in 2 weeks. I mean, so he was
David
only on the huh?
David Boreanaz?
Yeah, he did everything in 2 weeks.
Wow. I don't know if he was still doing Angel at the time or not.
I can't remember what it may have been. They said he was bouncing 2 things, but he did all his. In fact, they said that he wanted to do all the stunt scenes, or all not the stunt scenes, but the kills, the walks, but he didn't. He didn't do any of those. So none of those that you saw people killing was him. It was somebody else. But he did it all in 2 weeks.
Okay. Well, that puts a wrap on that one. Stay tuned for our, the fun or the
behind the scenes. Did you know?
That's right. Also, what I don't remember the next movie we're gonna do, Mike. I can't recall it, so I guess we'll have to say it on the next thing. But also, we have something new to promote here. We have a new Facebook community, horror community, and it's called Must See Before You Die Horror Community.
It's going to be right down here for you to be able to look for.
Yes, go ahead and click on that and join, and we're going to be talking all things horror in there, of course. Share your horror collections in there, share your autographs, share your favorite movies, anything. It's going to be a place that we're going to be able to do that.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, y'all have a good one, Josh. Thanks a lot, man.
See you, buddy. Bye.
Bye.